What's up, guys? Average Kiwi Guy here. How y'all doing? So you guys may not have heard, but there was a Anthem beta demo, like VIP demo this weekend. I put in about 12, 15 hours into it. And like right off from like my overall feelings on Anthem, just right off the bat, and how I felt playing the game and stuff, I am actually excited for when it comes out. Now, that's not to say that the demo went perfectly, because hell no. Hell no. It did not go well. It was a mess. But when it worked, when I could actually play, and I gotta say, like, there was getting to a point there where I was playing pretty consistently, like, for an hour or two without having a DC or something like that. Playing and doing the fighting and flying and all this stuff, I had a blast. I had a blast. Like, seriously, and I'm actually looking forward to the main game coming out. I really am. But like I said, it was nowhere near acceptable in a way to like what it should be. So apparently this demo was about a 6-week-old build, so it's not even an up-to-date build. I think it had a lot of stuff blocked off, so I don't know how that affects, you know, how stable things are and stuff. We had access to, how many missions was there? 2 to 3? I think it was about 2 missions. And then there was also like a dungeon, like a stronghold, which was like a dungeon or a strike for Destiny people, being that everyone compares this to Destiny mainly. Where, you know, you go in, do some tasks and stuff, and then there was a big massive boss at the end, which was really cool. So we had access to that, plus the free roam mode, which had some world events popping up every so often, and you can go around and do whatever you wanted and gather and stuff like that. And also we had somewhat limited access to Fort Thanasis, which is the PvE base that you go in. Very similar to likes of Monster Hunter World. With Monster Hunter World, you go back to a PvE base where it's just you, just a single player base where you don't have anyone else. But apparently there will also be a zone called, like, I think the Hangar or something like that, where essentially the gathering hub from Monster Hunter World, where you can go back to that with your group and with, you know, and you'll see people there and stuff and all the rest of it. So, like, I'd been saying this when I saw, like, the E3 stuff and the way they were describing some of the stuff as it was coming out. I was like, this is sounding a lot like Monster Hunter World in a way, just the way the multiplayer works. And it kind of is, where, like, you can go off and do stuff solo, or you can open it up to people and, like, get matchmaked to wherever you want to go. It doesn't, I don't think it creates a lobby. It just puts you into a server. That's all it says. And you can't, like, create your own or anything like that. But it's like, there's a free roam mode, which is like kind of like expedition. It's an expedition and you just go off, and it's very similar to like what Monster Hunter World does. So there's very similarities there. But obviously everyone will compare it to Destiny. And it does have that feel. The way I kind of felt playing it was that it was this in-between thing between Warframe and Destiny 2. It was very much in between that, where the movement's not as sort of flowing as Warframe, where you're slipping and sliding everywhere and you're a ninja and you're just flipping and all the rest of it. It's not like that. It has a lot more bulkiness to it. It has a lot more, I don't know, weight, heaviness to it, where like it takes a bit like for the thrusters to engage and stuff like that, which I like. I do like that. I actually kind of like how everything had a bulk to it, which I quite like. Where, you know, it's not as flat and as sort of, I don't know, linear as what Destiny is in a way, because Destiny doesn't have that flight mechanic. It doesn't, because that's the best part about this game is the flying. It's a bit tough to handle at first. I've heard many people go, like, who playing on PC go to controller, because controller felt better flying. Me personally, like, I didn't want to shoot with a controller, and I didn't want to have to switch between the two. Which you can do. You can, like, just, if you want to use the controller and then switch back and go to the PC, to the keyboard and mouse, sorry, you can do that. It was perfectly fine just in-game switching. You didn't even have to touch anything. You just picked up your mouse and away you went. Your controller and away you went. But, like, I stuck it out with the keyboard and mouse because I like the shooting better that way. I just didn't want to shoot with the controller. That's just not my thing. I hate it. What I did is that I just adjusted my sensitivities. There's a flight sensitivity, you know, main shooting and all the rest of it. You kind of have to tweak that stuff to make it a little more manageable, and then as you get used to the flying and stuff, you'll get there. But yeah, it definitely feels like that in between of Warframe and Destiny. Like, it's got that sort of thing to it. And that was the thing, like, I really liked about it, was the verticality, the fact that I can fly from one side of the thing to the other. I can take up different positions when I'm fighting things. Like, I'm getting overwhelmed and I'm freaking out of here. Pop the thrusters on, away I go, and I fly. You can use them tactically and stuff. I liked it a lot. I loved the fact that I could just jump up and fly. It was great. And then you can hover if you want. There's some dodging mechanics and stuff, which is really cool. And depending on what suit you have, like what javelin you have, depends on like how you kind of approach things. Like the second suit that I picked, so when you hit level 12 in the demo, you could pick a new javelin, you could pick a new armor, a new suit. And you know, you start off with the Ranger, and then you can pick from the other three, which was the Colossus, which is the big boy. He's the big unit, sort of tanky boy, which I think they might need to like adjust him just a little bit. Like, he doesn't feel like a tank. He gets shredded very quickly. Mind you, the others are quite squishy too, but I don't know. Like, the shield mechanics with Colossus is a little bit tricky to get used to. I don't know. I felt more tankier as a Ranger than I did as the Colossus. But I think as you get further along in the levels and stuff and you get better equipment put on him, I would say that would probably come along. It just felt a little off in places. But we'll get into that. Then you had the Interceptor, which was this light, agile sort of type, which was very quick, very maneuverable, but squishy. And then you had a more sorcerer, like elemental based type one, which like levitates and stuff, called Storm, which is throwing out lightning and frost and fire and all this shit. Like, it was very like kind of a very casting type suit, which was very, very cool. And then obviously you had the Ranger, which was the all-round multi-purpose type one, which was a cool introduction, like, one. And I quite like the Ranger. I really do. Like, I'd like to... I don't think I'd throw the Ranger away quickly, you know, when I get into the actual game. But I did love the Colossus. I thought the Colossus was really good. It just took me a little while to get used to the way his armor works and stuff. So then we get to the technical stuff. Now, this is where the demo absolutely failed. Absolutely failed, man. I felt like it got a little bit better as it went on. It felt like it got a little bit better. It did not give you hope for a smooth launch for Anthem. And I think that is the worst possible thing for Anthem. Seriously. Because it's already on thin ice. It really is. Like, the fact that it is an EA game, people aren't really holding BioWare in much of a positive favor since Andromeda or even further beyond that. Like, it needs a smooth launch. It has to have it. And I don't care what EA has to do, how much money they got to pour into it. They need to get this technical stuff right. Now, like I said, it is like a 6-week-old build, and it had a lot of stuff taken out of it. I completely understand that, and hopefully their more current build is far more stable, and the stuff they learned from this demo can help them. But And like that, I hope they get it down, man. I really do, because people straight up just couldn't connect to the game. They couldn't get in, like they couldn't connect to the online services and stuff. When you did get in, they struggled to group. Like especially people that wanted to make pre-mades, they struggled to get the invitations and stuff to work. They struggled to actual group up, which is frustrating for people that want to play with friends and stuff like that. Straight up crashes to desktops, like just freezing solid, boom, can't do anything, have to Alt F4, can't do anything like that. It chugged a couple of times in different places, had to adjust a few settings, and that helped out a little bit. My rig's pretty damn good. It can run most things on high ultra. Like, it doesn't struggle too much. And there were a couple of moments there where it did, and I just had to adjust a couple of, you know, sort of post-processing stuff just to help it out a little bit, and it seemed to come right. I had the FPS counter on just to see like how it was playing. It felt like it stuck around 60 most of the time outside of the city. Inside of the city, it could drop to 50 or so once I had all the settings right. There were a couple of times where it would drop below 40, and that's where I like started playing around with the settings. But yeah, that stuff needs to get worked on. Rubber banding. There was major rubber banding in places, which then also resulted in crashing as well. Like there'd be moments where I was fighting an enemy and I would take off to get out of the way of something, and I would rubber band back into that place, and then it would let me do it again. I kept bouncing back and forth about 10 times, and then it would crash me. So that got frustrating. This is going to get added on to the technical part. And also the loading times. Holy cow, man. Like, I'm loading off an SSD. It takes too freaking long. On a PC, it should not take as long as it does. And it is god awful. That got frustrating. Some of the, yeah, and then just overall technical stuff needs to get addressed massively before this thing gets launched. And they have to do it. They have to. They cannot release this and just say, oh yeah, we're going to fix it as we go. No. This needs to come out smooth. Like, the odd crash, people can handle. But people have to be able to group with it, like, log in. They have to be able to get to the game. Start playing the game. They have to be able to group with their friends. Especially when you sell this as a multiplayer game, where you can go and have adventures with your friends. People want that. This cannot have a rough launch day. It can't. Anthem's already on thin ice. It needs this to have a smooth launch. It's pure and simple. So hopefully BioWare, EA is on this shit. For once. Please. They need this. So I'm crossing my fingers, really, there. So overall combat-wise, with the gunplay and all the rest of it, the gunplay felt like a better version of Mass Effect Andromeda's type shooting. I'm trying to think, like, no, Titanfall was first person. But yeah, it's that third person over the shoulder shooting. The guns have a good sound to them. They feel good. You know, depending on which ones you're using. There's certain ones like, you know, some big meaty like launchers and stuff, which feel real good. There's some super like fast shooting, like auto cannons and stuff that the Colossus gets to use, and that just shreds people. And that sounds great. The shooting was all right. I thought it was good. I don't think it's as good as like what Destiny's feels like. Destiny's was always like the top tier shooting, like, you know, how you felt shooting. Like, it was a really good thing. Like, it was always like that Halo quality shooting. Where this isn't quite that. Like, this is using Mass Effect shooting, which was never the greatest shooting in the world. But they have improved on it, and they have done a decent good job. And I think with some improvements and stuff as the game continues on, I think that will get better and better. I will say though that damage to enemies felt delayed sometimes. Like you'd shoot things and then it would take like a second or two just to register and die or something like that. It was just a little off. It was like points something seconds, but it's noticeable. It felt a little weird in places. The abilities and stuff, I love. I love the way the abilities work. How they don't have the way they don't have like certain, like they regen. They don't. There's not a set amount of grenades you're holding. Like they have a cooldown, and then you can use them again. So you don't feel like you have to hold on to them. You can use them as you want. And then obviously as you go along and you build up your ultimate, the ultimates are very nice. Very nice. Like the Rangers is this like multi-target homing rockets, which is cool the first time you use it. It's really, really cool. It's quite basic, but it was still very cool. It will be interesting to see if you can change those. I don't know. Like, I didn't see anything on the customization thing. I'm changing alts or anything like that. I would like to see that. I think that's something that people like wanted from Destiny as well. Is like, I want diversity in how I set up my class, my type, you know, my suit. So hopefully they do have that. Like I just have not seen that. I haven't seen it. The Colossus ultimate is mean. It is mean, man. You basically just get this massive cannon and you get 3 shots and you just boom, boom, boom. It is real nice, and it has a real nice sound to it, and when it explodes it's massive and it's good. It's good. And yeah, like I've seen the storms and stuff and the interceptors, and they're really nice too. So yeah, it is. There's some, like, when you get those going and you get to use them, yeah, you feel good. Enemy AI and stuff like that, it's definitely that horde mentality. Like there are just lots of AI that will overwhelm you, and they do overwhelm you quite quickly. Especially if you put yourself in the wrong spot and you just start getting shredded, and they'll shred your shields, they will shred your armor, and you're down, and that's it. So you do have to pick and choose where you go and how you load yourself out. There are a few times there where I kitted out my Colossus just trying out new abilities, and they ended up being more close range stuff. And when I got overwhelmed by like long range snipers, like they were just picking me apart, and they had turrets and shit, I couldn't do much about it because I had nothing I could get to it. Like I had some guns, but the guns weren't doing too much to them. So it was, yeah, you gotta find that nice loadout that works, and you can definitely change them to what mission type you're doing. There are loadouts, like custom loadouts, so you can set per javelin. So I think it was like about 5 or 6 slots that you could set them up, change them so you can put different weapons on, different kit, you know, basically kit out your javelin to specific, like, you know, mission types and stuff like that. So if you need more long range, you would have a long range spec. You have, you know, more close range horde, so they're dealing with lots of little things that are melee range, which there are kind of like creature stuff that does that. Those close range stuff works well too. And then maybe like elemental stuff, you want to get into that because it's like comboing in this game, where like if you got like someone's frozen them and then someone like does blast damage, that'll combo. Like ice and fire does combos, lightning. I'm not sure how it all mixes together, but when it does, you see the damage numbers go up and the HP bars go down. And I'm a bit of a sucker for damage numbers, you know, flying out. Like it's just the MMO sort of feel in me, like the WoW, the Final Fantasy 14 type thing. Like they're just seeing the damage going. That gets me on, and I love that stuff. But yeah, so combat wise, I love it. I absolutely loved it. Like, I can see myself playing a ton of it, especially getting through it. Obviously, the gameplay, you know, grind, like, what's it going to be at end game? Like, what's going to keep us going? You know, that's going to be the thing to see. And how much of the story and stuff is in there, that, yeah, we'll soon find that out. Story-wise, we only got a very brief little look. The animations and stuff, I thought weren't too bad. They looked better than Andromeda. I think they definitely had to do better in Andromeda. The lip syncing looks a little bit out, but that's not too bad. I think BioWare has always been a little off on their lip sync. But yeah, everything looked solid. Everything looked damn solid. The city itself, Fort Tarnassus, I don't know. Like, you can see the life in it. You can see people walking around. You can see people doing stuff and all the rest of it. But it felt quiet. It felt quiet because there was no background music playing. Like, at least, like, especially as you spend longer and longer time, and, like, after the initial login, I think there's some music playing, but it kind of stops. And, like, sometimes there's, like, music playing in different areas that you go into, but it's, like, being played over, like, the most cheapest fucking stereo speakers you can possibly imagine, so it gets really annoying and really grainy sometimes. So, yeah, that stuff, yeah, that got on me a little bit. And I would like some background music there. Just to make it feel a bit livelier. But, like, people are moving around doing things and stuff. There's night and day cycles, lights everywhere. Like, the actual fort is beautiful. Like, it's got lots of stuff going on and all the rest of it. I like it a lot. I really do. And there's different people you go off and talk to and stuff. And they kind of let us talk to, like, 3 different people to sort of see what, like, conversations were like. And it's very typical BioWare, like, press 1 for this sort of, like, nice comment, or pick this one for the more harsher comment. I don't think there will be, like, a character, like, good and bad type thing. I don't think that's going to be a thing. Like, I don't even think we get to really design our character. Like, that wasn't anything. The only thing we had to pick for our character was our voice. Like, you either pick male or female. That was it. And you don't even see them because, well, you do see them in, like, a brief cutscene as you suit up to go out, if your matchmaking's taking a little bit longer. That was the only thing. That was the only time I ever saw a face on my character. Otherwise, you're in first person or in your suit in third person. I would have liked that the fort was in third person. I think that would have been, like, just keep the entire thing in third person. We don't need to have a first in this thing. I think they wanted to have a first person, like, interact with the conversation and stuff. But I would like to design my character and stuff. But you get to do that with your javelin, I guess. So yeah. So yeah, the fort was okay. Like, it looks amazing. Like, I love the look of it and all that stuff. But the conversations are very, like, basic. It's very BioWare. I think a lot of games now do it far better than what BioWare does. Story-wise, like, I am interested. Like, the brief showings of the story they showed us, some very interesting stuff, man. Like, I'm not gonna say what it was, but this sort of, like, science-y alien magic stuff that's going on in this world has some interesting stuff to it. It really does. I was like, when this one thing happened, I was like, whoa, I did not see that coming. I like that. It was good. It was damn good. So I mean, like, overall for this demo, this sort of beta, I guess you could say, for Anthem, like, how I'm feeling about it, I think gameplay-wise, world-wise, like, you know, graphic beauty, you know, all the rest of it, I think potential story, since we don't know, but potential story, I think were successes. Technical-wise, no. No, this was a poor showing. It really was. I think there's many people who are excited for what this game can be because of the gameplay and because of what it could possibly, you know, become and all the rest of it. People are terrified of what the launch is going to be like, and I don't blame them. I really don't. I think this is one of those ones that's going to, like, if you are a VIP, you can play it on this day. Then this next week, the people that bought this version can play this one. And then, oh, this is just the basic ones. Now you get to play it on the 21st or something like that. I think it is like a staggered release. But that's no excuse. This has to be right. This has to be right. If they want this game to succeed. Straight up. Straight up. But like I said, I am excited because everything that I saw, like the stuff that I get somewhat bored with in Destiny, I think this rectifies a lot. The stuff that completely confuses me in Warframe, this doesn't have, so I don't have to worry about it. So it's almost like it has the sort of the way Destiny's built with Warframe-like movement all smushed together into Iron Man suits and stuff like that. It makes you feel like a superhero. It has all that stuff going for it. In a beautiful world, and a far more beautiful looking world than I think a lot of Destiny things are. It's a more bigger, grander world. It's bigger worlds than what Warframe can do. So it does have that really nice stuff. It does have that super nice sort of looks to it, the feel and stuff like that. And the flying is amazing. Everything but the technical side, I am excited for. I just hope they get it right for launch. I really do. Alright guys, that's it for us. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. Big thank you to all the new subs and stuff. Welcome guys. We picked up quite a few over the past couple of days, so welcome. Appreciate it, really do. Also to the new Twitch followers and stuff. If you don't know, I'm actually back streaming now. It was like my New Year's thing. I wanted to get back into streaming more. So if you want to check me out, twitch.tv/theaveragekiwiguy. Hit that follow, and yeah, you'll get notified when I go live, and come say hi. Just chilling out, playing games, probably like Anthem and stuff like that. We got a lot of stuff coming out in the next month or so, so we'll be checking out most of it. Yeah, so big thank you to everyone. Thank you very much for watching all that stuff. I appreciate it. Yeah. All right, guys. Peace. Bye.